Good morning, students. Today we are discussing about basics of mass spectroscopy. Mass and NMR spectroscopies are always helpful to throughout the life of your profession. So this is a very important chapters for students as a masters. So starting with the first slide, what is mean by mass spectroscopy? The basic principles of mass spectroscopy says it is to generate ions from either inorganic or organic compounds by any suitable method. These ions are either cations, anions, radicals, or radical cations. To separate these ions by their mass to charge ratio, here mass is called as m and charge is z. Sometimes charge is also mentioned by small e, and to detect them qualitatively and quantitatively by their respective mass upon charge ratio and their abundance. A scientist named Aston from Cambridge University in 1999 discovered two isotopes of neons, that is neon 20 and neon 22. For that, in 1922, a Nobel Prize in Chemistry is given to Aston for his discovery by means of his mass spectrograph of their isotopes in large number of non-radioactive elements and for his annunciations of the whole number rule. Then, year by year, total discovered 212 from 281 natural occurring isotopes only by using mass spectroscopy. Hence, guys, this is a very important method to identify the mass as well as lot many natural compounds and their own isotopes. Now, what is use of mass spectroscopy? Generally, mass spectroscopy is used to determination of accurate molecular weight. It also used for determination of molecular formula by fragmentation in organic molecules, by determination of structural features in organic compounds. It is also used to quantification of organic compounds with very high sensitivity. These are some of the applications of mass spectrometry. First, elucidation of the structures of organic and biological molecules. Mass spectroscopy is used for determination of the molecular weight of the peptides, proteins, and oligonucleotides. That means very large molecular group compounds like chelates, proteins, peptides, and oligonucleotides are easily identified by mass spectroscopy by providing a mass upon charge ratio. Identification of compounds in a thin layer and paper chromatograms. This is nothing but the fused methodology. That means your HPLC or HPTLC is attached with the mass spectrometry. It's also called as a LCMS, or sometimes that would be possible to attach two coupled mass spectroscopy. It's called LCMS-MS. Next, determination of amino acid sequencing in sample of polypeptides and proteins. Detection of and identification of species separated by chromatography and capillary electrophoresis. Mass spectroscopy is also used for identification of drugs, of abused and metabolites of drug in abuse in blood, urea, and saliva. These are also used to identify the herbal molecules too. It's also used for monitoring gases in presence of birth during surgery for the patients, or testing for the presence of the drug in blood in thoroughbred racing horse, and in Olympic athletes. These are again a diversified use of mass spectroscopy to identify some of the drug molecules from the athletes as well as the animals they are generally used for racing purposes like a horse in Olympics. Dating archaeological specimens. So this is identified about the year of the particular specimens. They are generally dig out from the archaeological surveys and processes. Mass spectroscopy is also used to analyze an aerosol particles because it's only concerned for the masses and every molecule having their own particular mass. Mass spectroscopy is also used for determination of pesticide residues in food and also using to monitoring a volatile organic species in a water supplies. So we can say that these all 12 applications are diversified applications. They are not only related with the chemical or pharma, but they are using for lot many areas where the mass spectroscopy is generally used. Now there are total 4 particular things which is interlinked and interconnected with the mass spectrometry. The first would be a basic fundamentals which is generally identified or used to know the mass spectrometry. Second, technical realization, that how the mass spectra is obtained from mass spectrometer. The third one is a interpretation of obtained mass spectra, and from that interpretation you can identify the new applications to use a mass spectrometer. So start with the first, fundamentals. The fundamentals generally a person should know about the ionization process, isotope and its distributions, and the mass of the isotopes, where a scientist and researcher can easily go for a actual basic fundamental process which is adopted in a mass spectroscopy. Then we can go for technical realization, in which a technician should know how to operate the mass spectrometer, as well as a technician also know which kind of compound should be used to easily and very accurate obtain a spectra with very proper fragmentation patterns. Guys, the fragmentation would be again a very important part in mass spectrometer. So generally when the molecule would be fragmented, it is converted from parent ion to daughter ion and daughter ion to fragment ions. So if the sample preparation techniques are very precise and very accurate, then a fragmentation pattern would be again a very effective, and these effective fragmentation patterns would be provided with a very effective mass upon charge ratios of the different parts of the fragmented molecules. So in mass spectrometer they are generally divided into 6 particular portions, starting with the first sample introductions, that the insert of the samples. Inserted samples then reach into ionization chamber, and the ionization would be take place. That ionization chamber would be again moved towards the analyzer. In between analyzer and ionization chamber, that should be having a separations of the molecules, or we can say is a separation of fragmented molecules. Then the separation of fragmented molecules are reached towards the analyzer. Then analyzer would be analyze the molecules as per their mass and separate the molecules. These analyzers are generally 2 type of used in a mass spectrometer. Some mass spectrometer are a single beam mass spectrometer. This having a one single analyzer, and that analyzer is magnetic analyzer. And nowadays the mass spectrometer are available with 2 analyzers. The first analyzer would be attached after the ionization chamber, that would be a electronic analyzer, and then subsequently that would be a magnetic analyzer. Then the analyzers are afterwards connected with the detectors, and detectors to a recorder, and recorder to the finally spectra printer. So these mass spectrometers, the last but not least, would be having a coupling of separation device. Hence, I already told you the mass spectrometer are used as a coupled with lot many spectroscopy, as well as it's also coupled with the lot many chromatographic techniques too, like liquid chromatography mass spectroscopy, then gas chromatography mass spectroscopy, or it would be having a nowadays HPTLC is also coupled with mass spectroscopy is available. So all that separation techniques are separate the molecules, and the separated molecules are again entered into the mass spectrometer, and then again it would be provided the exact molecular weight of the separated compound. Now, after the technical realization, one can also understand the interpretation of mass spectra. So for the interpretation of mass spectra, a scientist or technician must know about the rules of the fragmentation, and also the pathways or patterns of the fragmentations, and for last but not least, to characterize the fragmented ions very precisely. From fundamental to interpretations, a person should know the various applications in terms of quantification and qualification of the molecules in a very different areas and segments, like pesticides, chemicals, food and beverages, then dairy products, and definitely fossils, archaeology, and lot many air, gas, pollution control, animal and husbandry, zoology, botanies. These all are various areas in which effectively mass spectrometers are used to identify the masses of the different molecules. This is the general scheme for mass spectrometer, starting from inlet to ionization chamber. Then acceleration would be take place. After acceleration, molecules are raised to the mass analyzers according to their mass upon charge ratio. Then it would be reached to detector, and detector to recorder. So these M1 and M2s are nothing but the parent ions. So when the molecules are injected in a through inlet by injection source or any particular devices, then what happen, these molecules whatever inletted by spray or very nano nozzle spray, these nano nozzle spray the nano particles of the particular molecules, which is then reached into the ionization chamber. In ionization chamber, the electron gun are there which is bombard the electrons. So the spraying nanomolecules are contact with the electrons, and this electron which is again break down the molecules and convert into a 4 different kind of species, and that are cations, anions, radicals, and radical cations. So that's only important thing is mass spectrometer. Mass spectrometer is only identified cations. Remaining are again converted into cations. So starting when you inject the molecule, the particular compound, these compound are again having their own particular structural molecular weight. This is called as a parent ion. So when the parent ion is contact with the electrons, which is bombarded in ionization chamber, then its parent ion are converted into the either cations or anions or radicals or radical cations. These cations are moved towards the acceleration, but about anion, these are again converted into the radicals or radical cations, and by losing of electrons. These radicals now are again are fragmented to form cations and anions, and radical cations are moved towards of conversion of cations. So finally, the molecules which is are having radicals or molecule which is generate radicals or radical cations, they are again capable to do a bombarded with electrons, and finally it will be converted into the parent ions to daughter or fragment ions. That's why mass spectrometer are always and always provide the very accurate and precise mass, because of the molecules are fragmented in such a manner that not only cations but anions, radicals and radical cations are again try to convert into the fragment and daughter ions in ionization chamber. So whatever the fragmented molecules, either they are parent ion or daughter ions or fragment ions, they are moved from the ionization chamber, and that time, because of the having a own mass and charge ratio, they are having their own acceleration. So the acceleration of the particular molecules along with they are reached to the electron analyzers. Then analyzer of electron analyzer again provide the electricity, and this electricity would be again enhance the movement of the molecules, and finally these heavy momented molecules are reached towards a magnetic analyzer, and due to magnet and then electron charge the molecules have, they are again precisely separated from each other. That means we can say there is no agglomeration, or the cluster of the molecule would be available where the molecules are moved from a magnetic analyzer. Then finally, each and every species of the fragment ion or daughter ions or parent ion are raised towards the detector, and finally detectors, according to the charge, they generate signals. The signals would be collect from the recorder, and the recorder would be again provided with the spectra. This is a simple diagram of single beam analyzer mass spectrometer. So this is the ionization chamber. Then ionization chamber would be again having attached with the inlet when the molecule should be inject inside. Then these molecules are reached towards the ionization chamber. Then ionization would be take place and fragmentation would be take place. After fragmented molecules are leave from the ionization chamber and reach to the magnetic analyzer. This magnetic analyzer is nothing but having electromagnetic waves, and that's why these electromagnetic waves would be generally deflect the molecules, and these molecules are again observed by the various different paths. These paths are again identified by their own mass upon charge ratio. Guys, we can say that a molecule which is having a low molecular weight, which is easily passed through the magnetic analyzer, though the molecule having a very high molecular weight, they're having their less momentum or less path areas. Finally, it would be a reach to the detector, detector to amplifier, and amplifier to recorder. In whole process, the vacuum is again established with a nitrogen gas. Why? Because these formation of deflection, as electromagnetic analyzer which is having an electron and magnetic charge, it generates a very high voltage of energy, and this energy generally release lot of heat. So these heat are sometimes destroy the actual molecules, or we can say as a charring the molecules. So to avoid all these problems, generally the vacuum would be created along with that using of nitrogen gas. Hence these molecules are not converted into the chair or in a unwanted conversion. Why vacuum is necessary? Guys, the mean path of the circulation of the molecules, if we can say, is a lambda, which is the average distance traveled by an ion before it colloids from the ionization chamber with an air molecules after to the reach to detector. So in between from ionization chamber to the detectors, that are some of the the pressure, that density of gas numbers, and mean path area would be the responsible for the same. So for the particular chart, we can observe that if the pressure would be high, that means the gas number density would be less. This high gas number density is again identified to decrease of mean free path area. Fine. So the pressure would be less from 760 to, if we can say, 1 into 10 raised to minus 8. So reduce that much pressure. That means gas number density would be again reduced from 2.7 into 10 raised to 19 to 3.5 into 10 raised to 8. Hence, the mean path area would be increasing. So we can say a pressure would be increased, that time the gas number would be again increased and mean free path would be decreased. Meanwhile, if the pressure would be decreasing, that time the gas number density would be also decreased, and that time mean free path would be increasing. So the maintenance of pressure as well as the gas number density is play a very important and particular role to identify the mean free path area. That means the path area would be increased, that means a separation would be that much effective. This is a typical design of mass spectrometer. Here the first would be the ionization chamber. Ionization chamber, which is having a starting with the gas beam. Gas beam is nothing but the whatever molecule we have to supposed to use to identify the mass. These molecules are inserted by either in a gaseous form or with a liquid form. So instead of gas beam, we can also use as a liquid insertion probe too. So either liquid insertion probe or the gas beam, the molecule would be inserted. These molecules are leakage from the gas beam, and these again reach to the repellers. Repellers would be identified a particular micro slit area to maintain the passes of the molecule. These molecules are again passed and reach to a electron bombardment area where this is electron sheet are there, and this is filament which generally causes of heat. So these filament and electron shielded area, these again nothing but the release of electron with a high force of bombardment. These electrons are unused electrons are collected from the anode, is nothing but the thermocouple, and meanwhile the molecules are come across the electrons which is generated from electron gun. This whole area is also called as electron gun, which is capable to bombard of electrons. So these molecules are nanoparticles of the molecules are contact with the electrons, and these electrons bombarded molecules are converted into the either cations, anions, radicals or radical cations, which are moved towards the electric slit. These electron slits are nothing but the absorb of unwanted electrons, which is again released from the fragmentation process. Then after a pass to the focus slit and focus slit to second accelerated slit, the unwanted molecules like anions, radicals and radical cations are moved towards the fragmentation process again, and only cations would be a pass towards the slit area to the analyzer. These whole process is nothing but the processes are called as a path area of analyzer. Here the initially electronic analyzer would be having attached, and meanwhile the magnetic analyzer would be attached. So the cations are attracted towards the electric analyzer, which is having a electron charge, and these molecules are which because of the electron analyzer, the molecules which is by very high attraction force is attracted towards the electronic analyzer. Through the attraction of analyzer, they are having their own centrifugal force, and electron analyzer would be again having their own electricity. It would be also generate the centripetal force. So the itself centrifugal force and external centripetal force, the molecules are having a circularly motioned towards a whole tube associated with the analyzer. Then these molecules, according to their mass, is that the very low molecular mass molecule would be a first reach to the analyzer, and the high molecular weight molecules are reached later to the analyzer. Then these molecules are leave from the electronic analyzer from at that time it is having a very high velocity and having their own particular circular motion path, and this path is identified by a vacuum. So the vacuum pressure is plays a very important role about how about if you know the cluster range of your molecular weight, that time you can also identify a pressure of the gases, density of the gases, and you can identify the path of the molecule. That means if you have to identify a very high molecular weight compounds like proteins and peptides, that time definitely that the pressure of the gas would be very less, density of the gas is again very less, and hence only you can obtain a very good free path areas, and that why the circulation are very high in terms of the nominal cases. And these molecules move from the electric analyzer, it's again contact to the magnetic analyzer, which is having their high magnetic field. And due to magnetic field, the clusters or agglomerations of the molecules were removed from the or moved from the electric analyzer, that molecules are again separated when they are removed from the electric analyzer and reach towards the magnetic analyzer. Now guys, what's a use of magnetic analyzer and why that electric analyzer would be attached? Generally, electric analyzers are provide the centripetal and centrifugal forces to the molecule which is moved from the ionization chamber. Only this is that's a use of electric analyzer. When the molecules are reached to the magnetic analyzer, that time it might be happen the molecules are in a clusters or in a agglomerate form. So what happen if they directly reach to the detector, then a molecular clusters or the agglomerate molecules are not provide the very accurate and precise molecular weight. Hence, in between if magnetic analyzer would be attached, these magnetic analyzer due to their magnetic force and electricity is definitely generated if the magnetic force are there, so that electromagnetic waves are chop the molecules in a such a manner that agglomerate and the cluster of the molecules are separate very precisely, and each small daughter and fragment ion patterns would be separately and individually reached to the detector, and these detectors are again capable to identify or notice each and every fragment and dotted fractions. These fractions of the fragment and parent daughters, fragment, parent and daughter ions are having their own charges. These charges would be again identified by providing the signals. To identify the signals, you can again record the signals, and finally you can get a spectrum. So this is a portion of detector where the molecules are contact towards the detector plates, and detector plates is nothing but it collect the molecules and identify the charges. In charges, to identify the charges, you can identify the particular molecular weight, and through detector finally the molecule is move towards amplifiers, and this amplifier is nothing but identify the charges of the separated molecules, and the particular charges would be provided with the particular signals. So we can say in m by z, z would be always having a value 1. So there is never ever change of the molecular weight where it would be converted into the cation or anions, because when the molecules are reached towards the detectors, it's only when only identified cations which is having a m by z ratio, in which m is the actual molecular weight and z would be always charge ratio, this is 1. So m by z is nothing but the molecular weight only. so we can identify a particular exact molecular weight of each and every daughter fragment and parent ion. So starting with the sample introduction, generally in mass spectrometer, gases and the samples with the high vapor pressures are only introduced directly into the source of region. That means you are never ever use any ionization sample initiation probe if your molecules are gases in a phases or which having a very high vapor pressure. Then these kind of compounds are directly insert into the ionization chamber. But if your compound are in a liquid phase or in a solid phase which is dissolved in a organic liquid, they are usually heated to increase the vapor pressure for the analysis, and these kind of liquids or the solid which is dissolved in a organic liquids are inserted into the mass spectrometer by insert or inlet insert probe. If the analyte is a thermally labile or if it does not have any sufficient vapor pressure, then the sample must be directly ionized from the condensed phases. So condensed phase is nothing but the molecules of solid which is heat in such a passion that it will be converted into the direct solid to vapor form. It's called as nothing but the sublimation form. The method of the sample introduction would be having two types: direct vapor inlet and the liquid insertion probe. Now start with the direct vapor inlet. This is very simplest and very often used method in mass spectrometer. Generally the gas phases analyte is introduced directly into the ionization chamber through a needle valve. So the valve, which is generally open when you insert a probe for the release of sample. So when you remove your needle, the valve would be again shut off, and this valve is very precise and accurately identified shut in and shut off with a fraction of seconds. Hence there are no loss of compound, there are no loss of release electrons, and again the very safe process for inlet of gaseous or vapor phase molecules. The method is suitable for gaseous, liquids or solid which is having very high vapor pressure. The sample with low vapor pressures are heated into increase the vapor pressure. I already told you guys it is conversion from solid to vapor form. It is nothing but the sublimation form phase. But there is only one limitation of the direct vapor inlet process, that it would be useful only for the thermostable compound. That means if your compound would be thermolabile or heat sensitive, then these methods are not effectively used. So the compound are having a thermolabile are not directly insert into the ionization chamber. That time this only effective method which is using are gas chromatography, mass spectroscopy. That means a gas chromatography which is identified and separate the particular gases, and these separated gases are again reached over directly into the ionization chamber of mass spectrometer. That means the outlet of gas chromatography, that is nothing but the inlet of ionization chamber towards the ionization chamber of mass spectrometer. This is a very common technique to identify a gases, whether it would be having a thermolabile or not heat sensitive gases. Though the gas having a very high vapor pressure or very less vapor pressure doesn't matter, gas chromatography, mass spectroscopy would be identified any kind of gases which is we have to know the mass. The complex mixtures sometimes are separated by gas chromatography, and the mass spectrometer is used to identify and quantitate the individual compounds. Why? Because a gas chromatography is capable to separate each and every various gases, and these separated gases are reached towards the mass spectrometer according to the density, and that that gases according to the density they are moves. The less dense gas would be first to the mass spectrometer, and the higher dense gas would be reached afterwards. that might be possible sometime high vapor pressure and low vapor pressure gases are uh, identified or separated in gas chromatography, um, in which the low vapor pressure gas would be run fast and separated easily and reach first to the mass spectrometer, and high vapor pressure compounds would be a continue. That means we can say a high vapor pressure which is compound is very easily evaporated, and these easily evaporated gases are separated first through a column in gas chromatography, and they are separated first to reach to the mass spectrometer. So the compound would be having a high vapor pressures which is not easily separated, but low vapor pressure compounds are easily separated one. Fine. So the gas chromatography is identified or separate both kind of compounds from the low vapor pressure to high vapor pressure. First release a compound which is low vapor pressure and then release the compound which is high vapor pressure. And first compound reach to the mass spectrometer are low vapor pressure, and subsequently reach a compound to the mass spectrometers are high vapor pressure. Finally, the compound first reach to the mass spectrometer easily separated first. Compound which is reached later to the mass spectrometer, it would be separated later on. There is a least possible amount of the carrier gas and the maximum possible amount of the analytes should enter into the ionization chamber. The most common gas chromatography mass spectroscopy interface use a capillary gas chromatography column because the carrier gas flow rate is very small. Why? Because it would be generate lot of pressures in a columns, and these pressures are again sometime not easily handled in a gas chromatography. That's why a size of or thickness of the column would be very low to maintain the pressure inside into the gas chromatography. The second process of the sample introduction is liquid chromatography, which is also called as a LC, and the attachment of LC with mass spectrometer is called as a LC-MS, liquid chromatography mass spectroscopy. Nowadays HPTLC-MS are also available in the market. It's called as a HPTLC-MS. This liquid chromatography is generally used to introduce the thermal labile compounds or a solid compound which is soluble in a organic solvents. The sample is ionized directly from the condensed phase, and these condensed phase of the molecules in a vapor form are directly inserted through a ionization chamber by sample insertion probe. Now, the most important process for the sample introduction is direct insertion probe. It's again called as a DIP. DIP is used for lot many different kind of compounds. We already discussed two kind of compounds: gaseous compound which is having a very low vapor pressure, and a liquid compounds which are easily miscible with the organic solvents. So DIP is generally and widely used to introduce a low vapor pressure liquids and a solid into the mass spectrometer. Here solids compounds are nothing but the compound which is easily soluble in a organic liquids which is having a low vapor pressures. And the examples of are having a chloroform, or sometimes would be having a triethylamine, or sometimes would be used as we can say acetonitrile. So these are generally a common solvent which is having a low vapor pressure. This sample is loaded into the short capillary tube at the end of the heated sleeve, and this heated sleeve is nothing but the collect the mist of the liquid, and this mist of the liquid would be again reached to the electron bombardment areas. This sleeve is then inserted through the vacuum lock into the source of region. Okay, so when you insert a mist of the compound, that time the fraction of seconds the valve would be open, compound would be released inside, and automatically the valve would be shut off, and this compound is only directly reached towards the electron bombardment area. The temperature of the capillary tube is increased to vaporize the sample. This is most important part. If the temperature in a capillary is not maintained, then what happen? The mist formation is again uneven, and though the particle size would be uneven because of the mist formation is uneven, then it would be again affect on a formation of daughter and fragment ion. These probe is used at higher temperature than are possible with the direct vapor inlet, and that's why low vapor pressure liquids are generally used for direct insertion probe methods. These methods are generally used for the thermolabile compounds, or which is also called as a heat sensitive compounds, or the compounds which is having a very low vapor pressure. Thank you guys. So today in these lectures we just go through the basic of mass spectrometer, various applications of mass spectrometer, and things or points which is generally remember how to use and operate the mass spectrometer, and sample inlet device and ionization chamber of mass spectrometer. Thank you.